What you need to do is SOP your entire business so that you can allow ordinary people to operate in it.
Ooh, I like that.
That is it.
Yeah.
That is the key to business success.
Yeah.
Literally. Yeah. Okay, so what I was saying in the gym is that I've noticed something over the last, I would say even 2 years of the progression of Canadian Protein and what we're doing in order to scale it. And not only to scale it, but to make it a much more efficient business, a much more less volatile.
Yeah.
Allow for major growth. And where I was going with this is a lot of people think that in order for their business to grow, scale, be successful, they have to bring in the smartest people. I don't think that that's the case.
Oh, I'm offended.
Well, okay, but hold on a minute. let me explain. I'll explain it a little bit more. I'm more so talking about people that are like owner operators as well. Okay, so I'm more so talking about like I'm decently removed at this point with respect to the day-to-day operations. I'm not talking about like guys like you, Jordan, Ram. I'm not. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking more about, owner operators, but also as the business grows, I'm more so referring to guys like you, Jordan, Ram, implementing certain systems. Where I'm going with this is I've realized that in order to scale a business effectively, you cannot rely on bringing in great people. What you need to do is SOP your entire business so that you can allow ordinary people to operate in it.
Ooh, I like that.
That is it.
Yeah.
That is the key to business success.
Yeah.
Literally. It's the key to successful businesses growing, scaling, operating successfully, smoothly, efficiently. Because I've realized from the beginning, I thought that that's what you had to do. Now, again, and that's the general consensus in the business world. You need smart people to, run your businesses for you or work in your businesses for you, and you just don't. You just don't. We need guys like you in order to run the businesses, Jordan operate the businesses, and Ram and stuff like that to operate the business. But though I'm not referring to you guys necessarily. I'm more so referring to, like I mentioned, owner operators, right? Because then once the owner operator transitions out of the day-to-day, there still needs to be someone in place to implement those SOPs for your business.
Yeah.
Think about how much more effective our business is because we've SOP'd fucking everything.
Yeah.
It's insanely more effective.
That your business is really only as good as the systems that you have in place.
And it allows you, like, listen, at the end of the day, employees are transient, right? They move in.
It's almost inevitable.
It's inevitable, right? Yeah. They move in and out of the business. Yeah. So remember when COVID started to pop off and we were like, listen, we have to make our business so. Where was I headed with this?
Yeah, that essentially that the business is really only can go as far as the systems that it has in its place. Yeah. And that's been the foundation for Canadian Protein. But it's also like it's a philosophy that you and I talked about with respect to.
Oh, I was talking about COVID.
Yeah. Okay, COVID. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I was talking about COVID
at
the beginning of COVID, when everybody was literally, it was so volatile of a work environment, probably not just for us, for everybody.
For everyone.
That we were like, listen, if we're going to survive this, the business has to be SOP'd and someone needs to be able to walk into a job and pick it up within half hour. Yeah. And that's what we did. And that's why one of the reasons why our business works so efficiently. Yeah. We don't have to have so many employees anymore. Right?
Each employee is less stressed.
Exactly.
They're like they feel less overworked.
Yeah.
Because like I have a fundamental belief that your overall, call it mental state in a workplace as an employee, this is not necessarily for necessarily an entrepreneur, but as an employee, is if you feel like you are extremely overworked and your mind is chaotic and you're feeling burnt out, Like that's, in my opinion, either because the business has not set your position up for success, or you just suck in your position, or a combination of both.
Yeah.
Right. Like if you are able to, let's say as a business, organize it in such a way that your employees are just executing on SOPs, on systems over and over, it just reduces the friction in everything.
Of course.
Right. And then if you as an employee are constantly looking for how to set systems up or to make things smoother, more efficient, then overall everything will, like, we actually are operating on maybe not less employees, but definitely the like dollars spent on employees per dollars on revenue has decreased substantially. Not because like we're just squeezing our employees. Like if you ask anyone, they feel like that they're not overworked, that they feel better in their positions than they have before. And it's just because it's more organized and there's less friction overall.
Sure.
Right. And so I honestly believe it's a combination as the operators of a business setting it up so that your employees just execute, that you're not in a chaotic position, but also you as an employee, you're constantly looking for those things. And so, yeah, like, and you and I talked about this almost exact philosophy with respect to like health and fitness and nutrition last week, where I'm a fundamental believer is that being healthy and fit is less about making these extremely large strides forward, but rather just focusing on not fucking up. And how to not fuck up is to have certain systems put in place that you just always execute on, that you make it so easy for yourself. Right. Yeah. So for example, we now last week was a little bit challenging because we had a really busy week, but for the most part, we work out in the first thing in the morning. That's number one. Number two, I eat pretty much the exact same breakfast every single day. Is it the healthiest breakfast? No. Is it like the most trending new thing with a bunch of like new supplements and whatever? No, it's just so extremely basic. Yeah. And it's the same fucking thing every single day. Why? Because that requires way less energy for me to do than anything else. Of course. You talked about meal prep. Meal prep is one of the easiest ways, especially if you have another, like let's say a company supplying it for you, is one of the easiest ways to just follow a nutritional plan because it's just done for you, right? But these exact same philosophies that you can apply to just reducing the friction in your life, because the more all over the place you are, if you're always trying to start a new diet, you're always trying to start a new workout plan, like everything's gonna be so much harder, right? Focus on a couple basic things that work, and then just continue, like set up the systems and repeat it so that it just becomes easy and it becomes routine. In business, it's been the exact same thing, right? We're actually trying to do less new things and just trying to get really good at the things that we're doing.
Yeah, that's why that's like Chick-fil-A's philosophy, right? They really only have how many things? Like 6 or 8 things.
That's what they're known for.
Yeah, and they do those a smaller SKU size of products. Yeah, just they excel at those. It's very difficult, and I agree with you. It's very difficult to excel at every single fucking thing all the time. Yeah, every single product, every single flavor, every single SKU, it's too hard.
Yeah, because you actually notice that things will start suffering in the long run. Yeah. And so I think it's to kind of bring this full circle.
At any scale, really.
At any scale, for sure.
Really, any scale. Yeah.
And to bring this full circle to what you were saying before in terms of like the people to put in place, like that's why, especially if I would imagine if you're at a position where, let's say you own a business that's starting to scale and you're looking to bring in key people, that I agree, actually, don't look for the smartest people. Like academically, I've always got good marks, but because I was always good at trying to find the simplest and fastest way of getting that high mark, not because I was like some fucking Einstein person or whatever. I was like, okay, what's the easiest and fastest way that I can get this thing done so I can get an A or whatever, right? And I always thought that way from the time that I was young. And I find that like I think about that same kind of like way, because like I almost find that by default, I'm almost like lazy, because I'm like, I want to do the things as easy as possible, right? And in almost kind of a counterintuitive way.
It's human nature.
Yeah. Because like I'm like, I don't, if doing something this way requires that much more work than doing it this way, and you get to the same outcome, I'm like, why the fuck would I do it in a way that's so much harder?
Of course,
right? Yeah. And so, well, yeah. So I think like when it comes to the kind of key people that we have right now, I think one trait that we have in common is that we're always looking for those things. I've been like, hey, here's what we're doing. How can we make this even faster, even more efficient, reduce the friction, be able to set it up in such a way that we can train someone even faster, or reduce the amount of steps that's required in order to do something, reduce the amount of times that something can get fucked up, right? even as something as simple as implementing like double check systems, right? Where it literally yes, okay, it's an additional thing for an employee to worry about, but that double check might only take fucking 2 seconds, but it's enough that it just double checks that person's work, because that person fucking it up will cost a certain sum of money. Quite a bit more money.
We've seen it happen without double checking.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a really interesting thing that I thought of over the last couple of years, because I'm like, we're scaling like crazy right now, and I'm like, fuck, what was like the main things that we've actually implemented over the last little while? And it was literally SOPing the entire business, like right down to responses, customer service. Because I saw your email come in today, it was like, I want a new SOP where this happens if this type of product goes out, and I want this on this packing slip for this product all the time. SOP it. And I'm like, fuck, every single thing in our business is SOP.
Like everything. Because I want to identify any possible issue or whatever it is. So for example, for what Dan's referring to, for anyone listening, is when I'm kind of like overseeing customer service this week, and so I'm able to see the volume of tickets that come in and start kind of identifying trends. And one thing that I saw on a certain number of tickets that came in, I was like, okay, it's too frequently that people are ordering what we have as like a 6 kg unit, which is 3 of a 2 kg bag, right? And they get it like a discounted price when they order 6 kgs. Now the issue is on the packing slip, it shows up as just one line item. So, and like in the warehouse, these people are just moving so much faster. So naturally, with moving faster, it's possible that there's an error. So when I was looking at it, and so I saw, I think 2 tickets this morning alone, and I've seen this before in the past, but 2 tickets, I think this morning alone, that were like, hey, I ordered 6 kg, but I only received 2 kg. Now we have a system already put in place to for someone to double check what they received. And so they just have like a check mark, and then they have the person's initials. So that way, not only 1, we can see, okay, the person actually boxed this, but also 2, who the person was that actually packed up their order. And we actually recently did it where we have a double check system in the warehouse as well, so you'll see 2 initials on there. The first person, the top initials that actually packed it, and the person that double checked it. Right? And that already has reduced error significantly. But what I found was that because there's 3 items in one line item, I was like, okay, that still can lead to some ambiguity. So it's like, okay, how could we fix this? It's like 3 check marks. Done. Like that's something that takes 1 second.
I thought we were doing that before.
No,
it was switched.
It was only ever just 1 check mark on the line item. So I was like, hey, like let's set this up, and that's something that like then if someone ever complains, oh, I only received 1, it's like, well, I see someone checked 3 times. Like unfortunately, like we checked our system and it does check out, right?
Then we check run an inventory check.
Inventory
check.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And like another thing to easily check with that as well is just like the box that it was packed in. Right when they take a picture of it. If like for the person today, it was a large box and they said they only got 1 2 kg unit. I'm like, well, I know the box size of a used when you only send 1 2 kg unit. Right. So there's a couple kind of like checks in place. But yeah, it's just that kind of like mindset on every single thing. And like that mentality sometimes drives my wife nuts, because like I'll do that around the house. I'm like, I want things to just like be as simple as and seamless as possible. But just, I don't know, it allows me to fucking get things done faster. But
it's interesting.
Okay,
that's it.